I'm new to winemaking. My first batch started in March.
Excellent.
3 pails of Chilean. Started 2 times to California. You buy a 6-gallon pail. 5-gallon carboy, a 6-gallon carboy. What's the benefits? What the difference is? And what if you're just a little bit short?
Well, with our kits, they make 6 gallons on day 1. But we don't want you to top them up with water. So when you start them, you need an 8-gallon bucket, 7.9-gallon bucket to ferment them in to give enough room, especially if you've got a grape pack, because it's going to be all, 6.5 gallons of stuff in there by the time you get it all in. So if you have a small pail for our kits, it's going to overflow. So once that's done, you rack it into your carboy, and you need a 6-gallon carboy. When you rack it over, you want to rack everything that'll go up that racking tube. You don't want to leave anything that'll flow behind. You want to leave behind, oak powder and really thick yeast sediment and grape skins and whatever. But you want to get, within about a quart, maybe a little over a quart from the top. That's all the space you want. Then when you go to do your next step, which will be the fining and stabilizing, you'll be adding about 2/3 of a cup of fining agent and about 1/4 of a cup of water that you've mixed your sulfite and your sorbate into, and stir that up. You need that space. Then you don't top it up with water, put the airlock on, it'll settle, 2 weeks to a month. Then you'll rack off the clear wine and it'll be ready for filtering or bottling at that point. If you choose to bulk age, if you want to rack it out of that carboy and leave it sit for an extended period of time before you bottle, you will either need to rack it down to a 5-gallon carboy and maybe a half-gallon jug to balance it out, or you will need to top it up with a similar wine. If you top it up with water at that point, you'll be diluting it.
I've read about when people have added similar wine to theirs. That's okay to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And similar wine, by the way, means if you've got a heavy red, use heavy red. If you've got a light red, use light red. Don't put red wine into white. Similar. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, sir.
I have a question on what water do you recommend to use?
That's a really good question. So the gentleman wants to know what water we recommend using for the wine kits. I always use tap water. I'm from British Columbia, and we have the best water in the whole world. It's ridiculous how good our water is. So I've never used anything but tap water. If your water is municipal water from the northern Ohio, Cleveland area, you have fantastic water as well. It's very, very good here. Unless you're in some area that has water infrastructure problems, so you've got a lot of chlorine or chloramines in it, or you're on a groundwater source that might have iron or natural tannins, or if your water smells and tastes disgusting. My ancestral homeland is Saskatchewan in the middle of Canada, and our water tastes like it's been drunk once already. And it's just a smell-taste thing, and that would just carry over into the wine. So if you've got bad water, go ahead and use whatever spring water you can get your hands on, but you needn't worry about municipal tap water. It's almost always really, really good. And if you smell chlorine coming off your tap water, don't worry about it. The amount of chlorine legally allowable in municipal tap water is about 10 parts per million. My wine kits all have 3 to 5 parts per million sulfite in them. And so that's floating around in the kit. It's just naturally occurring. We don't even have to add it. It occurs on the grapes themselves. When you have a chloride ion in solution, which is the chlorine, and you have sulfite in solution in the wine kit, they will bind together at chemical reaction speeds. And chemical reaction speed is the same speed you see a match flaring off at. It's that fast. So the chloride will bind to the potassium at a bisulfite, and you'll wind it with potassium chloride, which is table salt. If you bind out 100% of the chlorine legally allowable in the amount of water you're adding, you will get 2 grains of table salt.
How about fluoride?
Fluoride, we don't have fluoridation in Canada. It's not an issue for us. But again, you would get potassium fluoride, which is inert. It's a salt, so it wouldn't affect you. Okay. Yep, sir?
I have a friend who's French.
I'm sorry.
He made wine, and he told me something interesting to clarify the wine. They would put gelatin settle down, and he said it makes. I'm afraid to do it. It perfectly clarifies it. Have you ever done anything like that?
Yeah, French say a lot of things. You can use gelatin. Gelatin's just a protein colloidal-based clarifying agent. The thing about gelatin that your friend may or may not know, I don't know if he's an enologist or not, is that it's extremely powerful as a fining agent. It's insanely powerful. So using gelatin to clarify one of my kit wines, which doesn't have, they aren't very cloudy normally when you start to clarify them. If you use gelatin to clarify them, it's a bit like using a flamethrower to light a cigar. It's just too darn powerful, because the efficiency of a fining agent also dictates how much it will take out of the wine. So fining agents will actually take out color. They'll take out flavor. They'll take out aroma. Filtering can't do that, but fining agents can. So Winexpert uses the principle of least intervention. For white wines, you use isinglass, which is a pretty wimpy fining agent. It'll just barely clear the wine, but it won't take out anything good. We use chitosan in the reds, which is again very, very wimpy, but it just barely clears the red, doesn't take out anything good. So yeah, in fact, we were approached 7 or 8 years ago by a manufacturer from Chile who had a clarifier they were using on juice, and they wanted to sell us this clarifier for use in our kits, and they said, you'll be amazed, it's so fantastic. And it was based on cyanoacrylates, which is what crazy glue is made out of. So it's a dilute cyanoacrylate compound. Stir it into this cloudy wine. I picked the cloudiest wine I could find from my cellar in a carboy, and stirred it in, and as I was stirring, it looked like a snow globe, like that. And as soon as I took my spoon out and stopped stirring, the wine went clear as glass. Fantastic. No aroma except a faint odor of rubber tires. So your friend is, and so technically your French friend is correct. It does clear the wine beautifully. Wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, too harsh.